Well, we have a new guest. It is the first time in this gathering. It is a pleasure to have him here. Harry, this is YouTube that will get distributed. It'll wind up going all over the world. We never know who ends up seeing it. That's the way the world works these days. Mm-hmm. So if you would, for the first 10 or 15 seconds, introduce yourself, tell them what you do and so forth, so the viewers know a little about you.
Hi, I'm Harry Moser. I'm the founder and president of the nonprofit Reshoring Initiative, whose mission is to balance the goods trade deficit, which last year was 1.2 trillion, and that would bring back 6 million manufacturing jobs to the U.S.
What is reshoring?
Reshoring is the opposite of offshoring. So offshoring, somebody decided to make the product somewhere else, China, India, Mexico, somewhere, and reshoring is to once again make those products here. Another way of looking at it is to supply the domestic market from domestic production rather than offshore production.
And how are you doing? You've been at this how long?
13 years.
13 years. And there were recent legal changes in the United States to encourage what you're doing. Am I right? Or
there's been a lot of expenditure recently.
Yeah.
But over the time period, it started in 2010, and we've had a continuous upsurge in number of jobs announced per year. So starting in 2010, about 6,000 jobs in that year, and 2022, 360,000 jobs announced in the year. And the initial trend upward was due to just companies finding out that the deal wasn't as good as they thought it was. They started to look at something more like total cost of ownership instead of just price. But the last 2 or 3 years, the government spending hundreds of billions of dollars on chips and EV batteries and solar and so on has certainly played an important role.
Does the downgrade of the credit of the United States and its federal agencies, which happened yesterday, and we talked about it last night, you were in the conversation, mm-hmm. and the federal agencies were downgraded this morning. We have a rise in interest rates. The 10-year Treasury is trading at 4.20 right now. Mm-hmm. Does that impact what you're trying to accomplish, which is reshoring, meaning more jobs in the U.S. instead of overseas?
Yeah. I'd say only rather indirectly does it influence. I guess what I'd prefer to see is the dollar to come down 20% or something like that, because that would make the U.S. manufacturing more price competitive. And I don't think what we just described would make much difference for the dollar. So I'd say not much impact.
You had dollar bulls and dollar bears in the same room last night. Mm-hmm. They were civil, by the way. If you noticed, they didn't get into a fight with each other.
No, so, no. Yeah. I guess the other thing I'd like would be to what I really want is just companies to do the math correctly, to look and see that, to look at all the costs, the duty and the freight and the carrying cost of inventory, the risk of stocking out, the risk of decoupling. And if they quantify all those things, they see that 20 or 30% of what they're importing, even from China, they should bring back.
And if there's a listener somewhere in the world that wants to reach you, how do they do it? Tell them.
Yeah, we are reshorenow.org. So reshorenow.org, or harry.moser, M-O-S-E-R, at reshorenow.org.
And one final question. Did you go fishing today?
We really knocked them dead. We had Dale, who was excellent, and
Dale is the guide.
Dale's the guide, and between us we caught approximately 50 fish.
50 fish?
50 fish. So Dale...
You went to a fish market.
Dale knew the right place to go. 50 fish, just kept dropping the hook in and pulling them out. So
we're going to eat them for lunch?
We're having them for lunch.
We're having them for lunch.
Yeah, we caught them for the team.
All right. Well, Harry, thank you. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, David.
Be with us. I hope you have a good time. You're enjoying the group.
Pleasure to be here.
Nice to come.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.